such an introduction. Don't have your expectations that high. Now, we could say the same thing about our beloved Nalali too. Because Gurudev's inspiration and teachings to all of us counted on us wanting to serve. Because with service, you realize you are one of everyone. So if you serve everyone, you're not losing out. So you don't even think of, why put yourself first? You don't have that love for service. And when that is there, everything is fun, really. Everything is fun. Fun in the sense that you enjoy whatever you're doing. You don't think of it as being hard and you're tired out. It's fun. And you learn that after a while. That you're not tired physically. Many times you're tired mentally. I'm tired of this, I'd like to do something different. But you're really not that tired. Get a phone call from someone that you haven't seen for a long time. And you've been sitting, sort of shoes off, relaxed. I don't want to do anything. But the call comes, and it's someone you haven't seen. And within minutes, you're asking, where are you staying? At the hotel? What's your room number? I'll be there in a moment. And la-di-da-di-da, you're ready to go. Showering and out of the house, right? You wouldn't laugh if it weren't true. It is. You realize sometimes we're just mentally tired of something. We're not really tired. So, the talk tonight is on having a firm intention. You know, the dictionary talks about the intention as having a regular mental idea of what it is you want to do. You have a purpose in mind of something you would like to accomplish. It's something that has very strong energy behind it. And when we realize that to be able to intend to do something, if people say, I'll try, you give up all hopes. Because that tone of voice and the warble in that tone of voice tells you, forget it. But if someone says, oh, tomorrow you want that? Well, I'm probably able to do that tomorrow. The tone of voice tells you, is there any energy behind that want? Or is it just words? So if you want to understand the power of intention, you have to put some energy behind that. And when you realize that that focus that you have is energy, when you put your mind directly on something, concentrate on it, focus on it, that is your capacity of energy. It's not that you are expecting someone else or something else to do it for you. You are putting forth the energy that is within you. God dwells in you. Perfect energy, cosmic energy is there in you. And it's there for you to use. So if you can use that energy, you will find, again, it's fun. It's when you expect it to happen without you putting forth your part. What is the old proverb? God helps those who
Help themselves.
help themselves. So you put forth your effort and have faith that the rest is going to come about. It does. It does come there. And the big lesson that we have to work with is focus. Concentrate. I really want this. Not everything else that goes along with it. But I really want this. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and everything else will be added unto you. So that's a beautiful quote for having a focus. In the Bhagavad Gita, the story that is told of how do you handle jealousy? How do you handle sort of dislike, distrust? There were 100 brothers, and they happened to all be brothers, and 5 brothers. They were first cousins. And because the father of the 5 Pandavas passed away, the blind brother had to take over and be the king. And the 5 brothers and mother moved to the palace. And there was nothing but jealousy. Because the 5 brothers were very gifted, talented, well-mannered. And the 100 brothers, they were all born at the same time. You know, one right after the other. Don't ask me how. That's the story. Because every one of the brothers had a part in the story, you see. So when you want to tell a story, you have the power of creating whatever is the environment and whatever it is that's going to make it happen for you. So the oldest brother, Duryodhana, was unbelievably jealous of Arjuna, one of the 5. And he felt, because Duryodhana was so jealous, he was afraid he would not be the next king. He was torn to pieces. He couldn't focus on anything. It was just, Arjuna is being favored. That's why he's so good. He's getting all the special attention. Well, the teacher of the archery class, all 105 were students. You had to be a prince to be a student. Drona, the teacher, saw all of this going on in class, and he said, Duryodhana, come here. Bring your bow, arrow with you. So he came up and he said, I have a project for you today. In the tree that you see there, I've put a clay pigeon, and I put a red circle around the pigeon's eye. Do you see the pigeon? Yes, sir. I want you to aim for the eye. Yes, sir. Do you see anything else? Oh, yes, sir. I see a branch with leaves, and the pigeon seems to be leaning a little bit to one side, and it has painted feathers and everything like that. And Drona just broke in and he said, aim and shoot. And naturally, he's watching the arrow sail over the branch, miss the pigeon, everything. It was a dismal shot. And he was trying to excuse it and do it, and Drona just broke in. He said, Arjuna, come here. Arjuna, I have put a pigeon up in the branch, and I put a circle around the pigeon's eye. I'd like for you to shoot into the eye of that pigeon. Do you see anything else up there? No, sir. You don't see any branches or things? No, sir. What do you see? Only the eye of the pigeon. Shoot. And the arrow went directly through the eye of the pigeon. Well, Duryodhana thought again. Yeah, he's the favored one. You really directed his shot. And Drona just looked. He just looked and said, good, Arjuna. That's all. And all the other brothers realized Duryodhana lost the chance, Arjuna won the chance. But Arjuna realized all he saw was the eye of the pigeon. He had focus. His energy was with the job to be done. That's the power of intention, of purpose. What was he trying to do? Put the arrow into the eye of the clay pigeon. What was Duryodhana trying to do? Make the impression that, oh my goodness, he had such good vision. He was seeing everything else around. And he couldn't even aim for the pigeon, much less the eye. And that's something we too want to work with. What is it that is your aim? Why is it not happening? Sri Ramakrishna, Paramahamsa, tells the story of the young man who comes to him, and he said, all I want is to experience God. It's all I want. Can you give me that experience? Ramakrishna said, let's go to the river. Well, before we do something very special for you, take a bath, let's clean up. So they went to the river, and the young man stepped in, and Ramakrishna was right next to him, and he just dunked, and Ramakrishna put his hand on his head and kept him under. Finally, he felt the young man was struggling, wanted to get up, so he lifted the hand. And the man shook his head, and Ramakrishna said, what were you thinking of when you were under the water, son? Were you thinking of your job? Your money? Were you thinking of your girlfriend? Were you thinking of... No, sir. All I was thinking of was, I need some air. Air is all I thought about. And Ramakrishna said, if you think that strongly about wanting to experience, that's your only thought. Did you hear what he said? My only thought was air. You will see God immediately. Whether the young man understood how much of a focus he would have to have, how strong that intention would have to be for him, whether he realized it at that age or at that time is one thing. But we hear the story and we realize how important focus, determination intention is. To have something happen. And you know, we all realize that if you want to grow, if you want to have an inner experience of any kind, growth takes intention. I want to achieve this. There's a witty man who told a group seated around him who had so many ideas, and that's why they were there, they were so creative. He said, listen, I want to tell you something. If you cannot put your idea on the back of a calling card, forget it. It's not clear enough. You have to be able to put your idea on the back of, is it a 2x3? Is that something for a calling card? It should fit there. That means it is so clear you're leaving out all extraneous material. Then you can hope to see that your idea can be presented. I thought that was really, again, how clear does your intention have to be? So many times our minds are closed. It's, we're focused, but we're not open enough in planning that idea to realize if I would listen a little bit, put it out a little bit, there may be some other aspects that I haven't thought of, and my idea would be even better before I make it my intention, and it would have better results. You've heard sometimes your idea and somebody else's idea can come up with a third idea which is better than either one of the two. Because you've chosen the best aspects of both that will create this third idea. So another great thinker said, you know, your mind is very much like a parachute. It only works when it's open. And that is something that we have to think about. If your mind is open and ready to receive inspiration, and ready to receive suggestions, it ends up being yours. Because you have to glean from all an idea that is clear, that is focused, that will be powerful. If it's too broken up, the power is gone. And it's not possible for you to actually realize it. So many people think that achievement and success is going to come to them. You have to realize, no, you have to go to it. It's the result of your intention and of your agreeing to do what is necessary that brings the result. They say only in the dictionary does success come before effort. You know, that people talk to succeed in this, you have to put forth the effort. No, you put the effort first, and then success comes. And your effort is your intention. It's a big job. And you know, in yoga we realize that the intention that's going to really be powerful is not just going to be me, myself, and I are going to benefit from this. It has to be the we, us, our part of the intention. Gurudev gave a talk at the University Hospital in Charlottesville. They asked him, Swamiji, would you speak on wellness? Oh, all right, that's a wonderful yogic topic. Body, mind, and spirit. Spirit is well, perfect, without any change. But body and mind can be improved always. So yes, I will come. So after the big introduction, he was sitting with a small blackboard with a desk and chalk and eraser. And he got up and took the chalk and he wrote on the blackboard a little I. I plus illness, got it? L-L-N-E-S-S, illness, equals what?
Illness.
Illness. Then he wrote we plus illness equals wellness. And he went back, sat down, put the eraser on the table and the chalk next to it. He stepped off the platform and he said, "Thank you so much for inviting me to speak." And they were laughing just like this, and they were clapping. And he kept walking toward the door. And then they saw he was
Leaving.
He was going to leave. And they said, "Tell us more." And these are doctors, interns, nurses, students. There were several hundred people in the auditorium. They were acting like little kids. They couldn't believe it. But they were saying, "Tell us more." So he turned around and came back. But he said, "I've told you everything. I've told you everything. The I, me, my person is sick. Emotionally, physically, and the aspirations of a person like that are not healthy. But the we, inclusive attitude, us, our, is well. So what else do you want to know? If you develop in yourself the attitude of inclusiveness, you want to serve. You have a healthy attitude to other people, to your environment. You seek the goodness for everybody. And in having our strong intention, I love the slokas, the prayers that we say. You should pick them up and just read them sometime. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all be prosperous. I know sometimes people come in and say, "Well, what about me?" You know. I say, "Well, aren't you one of all?" Yes. But you are inclusive. That is the intention of looking out for the good of the other. That's how that prayer becomes strong, because it is inclusive. It's very, very important. You know, if you are thinking of something that you would like to present that is going to influence people, somebody would say, "Oh, if you want to influence somebody, you should give a good example of that." And we find that Schweitzer, who was a great doctor, physician, said, yes, it's very true. Giving a good example is very necessary. But it's the only thing that is necessary if you want to really influence someone else. If you say something, Gurdjieff used to say in the early days, in the 60s, when some of the young people would come, the hippies of that day, who were really had beautiful hearts, beautiful spirit, but they were very disappointed in what was happening around them. And they would say, oh, Gurdjieff, you know, my dad used to say he would have a glass of whiskey and he's smoking and he's telling me, son, I don't ever want to see you turning to drink and smoking. And he said, I would look in front of him and he'd have his drink there and he'd be smoking. He said, how impressive was that to me? So Gurdjieff spoke a lot on example. So your intention, if it is to help people, you have to be a good example of that, whatever that is. You live that way, and you'll realize how hard it was. Someone came to Mahatma Gandhi, the mother with her son, and said, could you please talk to my son? Please, I think you could influence him. He has diabetes, and all he wants is sugar. I can't influence him. I can't make him look out for his health. And Gandhi said, well, yes, I certainly will, man. Could you bring it back in 2 weeks? And she thought, 2 weeks? What's going on? What's the matter? But you will see him. Yes, I'll be happy. Come back in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, he came back, and the son said, Mom, you can leave. I can talk to him myself. I like him. So they had their talk, and when he left, he said, I am not eating sugar. I've decided that I'm not eating sugar. I'm going to have to look after my health. So I'll see you later, Mom. And he goes, and she says, Mr. Gandhi, I can't imagine asking you what did you do to him, but why did you wait 2 weeks? Does anybody here know why he asked to wait for 2 weeks? Mr. Gandhi said, I was eating sugar myself. How can I tell him and empower him for his health's sake not to have sugar when I'm eating sugar myself? And the mother said, I see. Whether she really saw or not, I hope she got the hint. You stop eating sugar too, and get rid of the sugary things in the house, and he's going to follow his intention of not having sugar. How many of us realize the power of example? An example is a purpose, it's an intention. It's that powerful. And if we are not able to give the example of something we would like to pass on to someone else, at that moment, we're probably not the one to give the talk or to give the example, because we haven't conquered ourselves in that little area. At least our intention should be powerful. Anybody can make a mistake. Anybody can go back on something that they really intended to do. But the intention, just like that, is back again. They're not sticking with failure. They're not thinking of it as failure. They're thinking of it was a lapse of intention. Something else came up. So it's very, very important. You know, you have heard the old saying, you want it, you got it. And it's true. But how powerful is your want? Your want is your intention to have it happen. And Greta used to say, well, if you want to make something strong in you, I'll give you 3 things that you want to pay attention to. And he gave us the 3 Ds. The first D is discipline. You have to have a certain power over what you do and don't do. And then you have to be devoted to looking out for your growth in something. You have to be devoted to it. And you have to be dedicated. So the 3 Ds. You could put devotion first or discipline first. But then you have to stick with it. Dedicate yourself to carry out what it is you want. If you have those 3 things, any practice that you do in your life is going to move, is going to grow, is going to succeed. But the dedication is in the yogic practice called practice. And have any of you done some Raja Yoga? What's the definition of practice? You do something for a long time, several O's in there. And what's the next most important?
Without a break.
Without break. Because some people have said, oh, I've done asanas for, well, it's like 7 years now, I think, or 8 years. Oh my goodness, you must be quite good at it. And it's helping you physically. And, 7 years, my goodness. Every day, right? No, well, you know, on and off. Oh, on and off. Which means maybe you have the progress of about a year out of the 7 years. And you know, have you stopped it for some reason, even a legitimate reason? You've stopped doing it for 2 or 3 weeks. And then you decide to, I'm going to go to class so that I can have this full thing. You realize this is not easy. It's difficult to do a full class after 2 or 3 weeks. Have any of you ever had to experience that? Yes, yes. It isn't that you don't know how, but the body gets out of practice. So how are you going to make a firm decision to practice a long time without a break? The third one is what's going to keep it all together.
With all your heart.
You have to do it with a certain amount of belief or energy or enthusiasm. you have to have that positive feeling toward whatever you're practicing. And then if you stop for a while, you'll go back because you realize how important it is to you. So remember the 3 Ds. I realize I need to do this. So I'm deciding. There goes your discipline. I'm deciding to do it. And because it's going to help me to be a better person. If I'm a better person, it hasn't benefited only me. It's benefited everybody around me. Because if you have a better control of your likes and dislikes, of your energy, you're more welcome in the group. You're benefiting everybody. Because you are growing and you are improving. So that you're devoted to being a better person. And that is going to add to the energy. You have faith that I'm going to grow from doing this. I'm dedicated to it. I'm going to really stick with it. That's the power that you have from practice. And practice is an intention. Why do you practice? Because I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to become able to do this. So your want has to be strong. Otherwise, it's one of those, well, I'll try. That doesn't get you anywhere. So it has to be affirmed. I'll do it. That is intention, and it has the power behind it. You're going to stick with it, and you're going to get it done. If not today, tomorrow. And tomorrow, it's like God created the universe in 6 days and he rested on the 7th. But Scripture, it doesn't have 24-hour days. This could have been a million years of our time. There's no time in eternity. It just is this. So how do you know how long those 6 days were when they were telling a story? It moved in sequence. And so, things in our growth, when we want to accomplish something, we have a sequence of things we do. It's like learning the beautiful practice of meditation. First you have a thought, you hear about it. That would sound interesting. So I hear about it. And then I'm interested in finding out more. So I either ask questions or I read about it or something like that. And I get all this information. But I realize I'm not getting anywhere. Well, one book after another book, it's like your little computer. You have your entire library in your little computer. But do you know all of that information? No, but I have it in the computer, and I can pull it up, and I can even download it for you. But that's not quite what you're thinking about. I want to be able to grow. I want to be able to practice this. So, all that I read about and all that I've heard about, I have to sit down and think about that and choose something. I have to pick an approach. I'm going to chant. I'm going to chant Hari Om. Why? Because I want to focus on something. If I don't have a focus that can strengthen my attention, my mind is just going to wander and wander. I'm going to choose a flower. I love a rose. So you take this rose and you look at it. Okay, I've seen it. Gertrude Stein wrote this poem about the rose, and the first few lines are, a rose is a rose, is a rose, is a rose. And you, oh, come on. What? Have you ever, could I have a flower from that vase?
Would you like a rose? We have a little rose, Mataji.
Oh, good.
Right, that was the perfect size for you.
Careful, they got thorns on them.
It's a thorn, you have to hold it at the top. There you go. Thank
So
you.
you're looking at the rose, and usually people look at the rose like this. And the poem says a rose is a rose, is a rose. And then say, I mean, a 2-year-old could write something like that, and she gets published, right? But you know, what is she really saying? This is a rose, but I'm going to turn it. If I look at it this way, I see a solid rose. But if looking at the solid rose, and then I turn it like this, I see a rose with a leaf, a petal of it sticking out. This is a new vision of this rose. And if I keep turning it, I'm going to see the leaf that is sticking out, a solid bud, and then another one that is turning out. That's my third rose. Now, I would like to look at it this way, and I'm going to see this charming little pouch, the little green pocket that the rose is placed in. That's another vision of the rose. Have you ever done that to a rose? I would say you really haven't seen this rose, because if you look at it in another couple hours, it's going to start to open up. And if you have a rose that has opened, you can look at this and turn it and see how the petals are interlacing. It's awesome. That's what it means to look at a rose. Do you see? And you go to the flower shop and you pick this rose up and you look at it and put it in your bag and pick this up. No. You haven't seen the rose. But you're trying to be efficient and you're trying to pick 6 roses, otherwise you'll be there all day. So you at least, you see whether, are these petals loose down here because they're going to fall out? That means the rose is old. So there are things that when you focus on something, a person looking at a rose like that would say, oh, I remember that rose that Thomas gave me. That was so, I wonder what Thomas is doing. You're meditating on the rose, but Thomas comes in. Now you wonder where Thomas is. You haven't heard from him for a while. Oh, and we had such a good time. We went to the zoo, and then we were feeding the monkeys. And people say, that's what happens to me when I try to sit and focus, concentrate. My mind goes in circles. I can't keep it. So I should be thinking on something that has a powerful energy in it. That's why a mantra is so helpful. Man, mind. Tra, the root for the word steadiness, unshaking mind. That's what mantram means. All the great religions had mantras. They don't call it a mantra. they give it to you. This would help you. It's taken from one of the Psalms. In the Jewish faith, they would even print that little line on a circular tube, put it into something and wear it. It's like a reminder. We would call that a mantra. I'm not quite sure what they call it, but it is the Rebbe.
Mezuzah.
The mezuzah. The Rebbe will give them that as their particular help. How beautiful it is. So what we are calling mantras are a few words that have strong energy to help us to remain focused. It's like picking up a good book. I'm intending to read. So I look for my good book and then I sit down with it. I hear the cars outside, I smell the cooking in the kitchen, the lights coming in the window, so I turn a little bit so that I can read easily. All of a sudden somebody is saying, "What's the matter with you? Are you deaf? I've called you 3 times already." And you realize, I didn't hear you. So you answer, take care, whatever it is, and go back to your book. You were getting lost in that book. And when you're lost in the book, you don't even know you're turning pages. You don't know you're reading. You are with the characters, you're with the story, you are absorbed. And maybe some person in the book says, "Charmaine, did you know we're all divine beings having a human experience?" You're out. You didn't drop the book, or you did. You were taken deep within yourself. You slipped into meditation. The rest of the time you were reading. And you didn't realize even that you were reading. You were into it. But you got something that hit you and took you beyond the book. And you were in meditation. What helped you to get to that? The interest that you had in the book. If you use a mantra, the mantra will be that focus, that intention to be able to move into, slip into meditation. And that mantra will give you the power to stay with it, will help you to stay with it. Let's stand for a moment. This is so you can see, stand there and move a little bit before we go back to talk. Yes. Yes. Asmi is going to lead you in chanting Om Namo Bhagavate, and you'll be on your feet just because I want you to move a little. You can sway to it.
Om Namo Bhagavate Satchidananda. Om Namo Bhagavate Satchidananda. Om Namo Bhagavate Satchidananda.
so much. Can you just give yourself a big stretch? And reach even higher. And then go down. Beautiful. And you can sit again.
Is everybody warm enough?
Correct. So, when we are thinking, Ford, the car maker, called his staff together when they were working on the beginnings of the Tin Lizzie, moving into some other new shape and form. He called his staff together and he said, I want to hear how you people feel about this. We have several new ideas for the car. And some people gave their ideas with, well, you know, it's, I don't know if anything like this could ever work, but this is my idea. And the next one was saying, I think if we sort of work on it, it may not happen very quickly, but I sort of feel like this can work. I feel very strong about this idea. And Ford stopped right away after those two people. And he said, you know, whenever something comes up and you say, I don't think this will work, but I'll try. You're right, it won't. You're right, it won't work. If the same idea is spoken about by somebody who says, it's really an interesting idea, I think it's going to work. You're right, it will. It's all your choice. It's all in your purpose for doing it. It's all in the strength of your intention. This is my idea. I'm going to make it succeed. I have faith in this idea. I have faith. And that is bringing that cosmic energy to work. That's what really faith means, that I have trust, I have belief in energy and in power beyond myself, beyond what I, as a human mind and a human body, can do. There's more in me than that. And I trust in that added cosmic energy in me, that I can draw on it. And not only is it strength, but it is power to my thought. I'll succeed. And there are times when you realize, I have faith that this is going to work, but I'm not so foolish as I'm going to say, by tomorrow. I have faith in this, it's going to work, and I'm not giving up until it works. I know changes will come about, little miracles will happen in between, and it's going to happen, and it will. The person that is having an intention and is too biased in this little box about it, probably you're not going to be able to accept the new things that come in to make this possible. And so you really don't trust that it's going to happen because you're too rigid about it. It's not going to happen. Faith is consuming. Faith is drawing all the wonderful things to it. we're not going to give any details, but just in the last day or two, I was able to witness miracles. It's true. It's true. When you can witness people's faith in the midst of things that go on that seem, oh my God, now what? Now what? But laughing. You see an attitude that is waiting for miracles to happen. You know, it's not like denying that it will happen. You're waiting for a miracle to happen. Because that is what happens if you're positive. When you talk about having a purpose, a yearning for something to take place in your life, a transformation to take place in your life, a change, you have to have the faith that it may happen in a very interesting way that you haven't ever thought about. You have to be open to that. That is part of the intention, the focus, that's like the open parachute. You have to be able to see different things coming in your way that you can accept, that you can take, and other things follow that are miraculous, honestly. Because miracles are happening all the time. Don't think that a miracle is something that once in a lifetime. The fact that you are still alive is a miracle. It is. You went to sleep last night and you woke up this morning. In one level of your life stream, you were dead last night while you were sound asleep. You were totally unconscious. Somebody could have picked you up and moved you somewhere. You wouldn't even have known it. You've done that probably, some of you that have had children. They're 2 years old and you've been someplace, they've fallen asleep. You pick them up, take them out to the car, take them out of the car, put them to bed. They don't wake up. It's as if they were out of the body. As if. But you woke up this morning. That cosmic consciousness wanted you to rest, and then it was going to come back to you in the morning. You've heard of people leaving the body at night in their sleep. They just don't wake up again. It's a miracle. It's a miracle, something that you didn't expect, and it happened and became the truth. It appeared. You woke up. So try to give yourself a word that may be even stronger than intention, because it includes discipline, devotion, and dedication. Because without that, you're not going to carry out your intention. How many of you remember the New Year's resolution that you may have made, or joked about making or something? How many of you remember it now? And remembered it every, very good. Very good. But there's some who, without feeling badly about it, have to just say, you know what, yeah, I really wanted to do this every day, and something came in and I didn't do it for a day or two, and then I forgot about it. It just slipped my mind. Dedication was missing, do you see? Because everybody has breaks, but does everybody have the begin again? And that is what a person with determination, with purpose, with intention, realizes that if you really have it, the power of that is going to make you pick it up again or continue with it again, even if you slip. So try to find out what kind of an intention do I make? Is it just like, oh, it'd be nice if I could do this? That's not strong enough. And you know what? Sometimes it may work for a day or two. What should it do for you? Wow. That was really helpful to do that yesterday and today both. I'm going to continue doing it. You see, these little helps come to work with that energy that is within you. Once you are resolved, the energy remains steady. But the test is, do you really want to do that? You intend to fast today. After your meditation, you thought, you know, we had such a wonderful time. I think I'm going to fast today. You have your breakfast, and then you realize, no, I'm not going to have breakfast today. I'm just going to have something, some fruit juice or something to drink. The phone rings, or your cell phone makes some noise. Who's on the line? Mom. Darling, I made your favorite cake. And I have time this morning. I was just going to come over and see you. We could have some tea and coffee and cake. And you're thinking, I'm fasting today. But you hear that love and that joy in Mom's voice. You can't say, well, Mom, I'm fasting today. Why don't you come tomorrow? Because maybe she can't come tomorrow. So you, right away, you say, Mom, I can hardly wait to see you. I'm setting the table. Come over right away. Hang up. You put the teacup. You put the little plate and for her. And Mom comes and she opens it up. She can hardly wait to see the cake. And she cuts it. And she puts a piece on your plate and her plate, and you pour the tea, and then you start a conversation. It's really interesting. And you are drinking the tea, she's drinking, she takes her fish, and she tries to say something, are you going to take it? And you say, but Mom, you didn't finish that story. And you go on with that, and first you, oh Mom, I really have to go. But that's going to be it for breakfast tomorrow. I'm going to call you, and if you can't come, please take a piece of the cake at home, and you have your tea and cake, and I'm going to have mine. I'm going to have you on Skype, and we're going to have tea and coffee tomorrow, because I just have to go. I can't, the time is gone. And Mom is just, oh, you're such a dear. But I wish you would even take it. No, Mom, really, I can't. I really have to go. I really have to go. You notice, you make a resolution, and what is God going to say? Do you mean that? Do you mean that you're going to fast today? Let me check. It's within minutes of your resolve that you have a temptation against it. What are you going to say? Oh, I can do it tomorrow. That has weakened your willpower. Every time you do that, the willpower gets weaker and weaker because you don't stick to something. The power of intention. Do you see? Your intention has to be serious, and it'll be checked. And if you can say, oh, I made that intention. I'm going to fast today. I'm going to stick with it. And you're going to have the power to do that if you really want to. What's your excuse? Mom is going to be hurt. No, you'll find Mom is not going to be hurt. She had that wish that you have it today, but the fact that you were there, she was there, you had tea together, there is an understanding. And you could even call Mom tomorrow when you eat yours and tell her what you did. You know, then she understands. And she's proud of you. She's proud of the fact that you can make a promise to yourself and keep it. That is the power of knowing what it is. I want to fast today. You can put that on the back of a calling card. But if I keep on saying, I want to fast today, if Mother doesn't call and say that she made my favorite cake, that won't get on the back of the calling card. It has to be clear. And you will have the strength to stick with it. Let's close with this beautiful peace chant. And then if you have some questions, we have about 10 minutes. You can ask if you wish. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. We'll sing that and then we translate it and we say it in English.
Loka samasta sukhino
May the light of truth overcome all darkness.
Victory to Christ.
Jai Shri Satguru Sachidananda Ji Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Jai.